Hi, everybody. Welcome to your yoga practice. My name's Tiffany, and it is an honor to be able to reach you in this way and to bring you perhaps a little calming energy no matter what you might be experiencing right now. I have to say, in light of everything that's going on in the world, in my own personal little world just now, I have been so nervous. Feeling so much of that built up energy has just been keeping me from pressing record. I've just been waiting for that perfect moment, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the right amount of confidence to make it happen. In that moment, I just would run to some other distraction. And to the point where I decided the biggest and last most distracting thing I could do was take a walk with Kimchi outside in the sunlight and just try to ground myself for a second in nature. If there's one thing that I can recommend, it is definitely get yourself out into nature. If it's a little bit colder wherever you are, or if it's even warmer, then layer up in just the right way and try and get some of that beautiful sunlight on your skin, or even if it's not the sunniest day, get some fresh air and see if you can find just enough, even if it's just to open the windows and let the fresh air blow in. If that's the state of where you are in this moment, if that's what you can get a little of that freshness into your lungs and feel a little bit more in your body. No matter what you might be experiencing right now, being a little more grounded and in our bodies is often the goal of my yoga practice, and I hope that is something that you can find on your mat today. No matter what you might be feeling in your heart, if you can allow yourself to sit with it for just a minute, it might feel less overwhelming, might be a little less anxious, and with that fresh air circulating through you, it'll feel really good too. So thank you so much for joining me. We'll start today in a tall seat, so see if you can find the tallest seat possible. If you have anything that you want to sit on, you can use just a regular everyday blanket. If you have yoga blocks or a bolster or even a meditation cushion that helps you sit tall, trying to find extra length in your spine. See if you can invite your shoulders just to take a couple reaches up to your ears and roll back. And try that again, like a big old circle up. And as they roll back, let them settle gently. Let your hands land somewhere in your lap or along your legs. And see if as you sit up a little taller, you can feel that lift more in the back of your neck. And let your chin be just a little humble and soften your eyes. You can close them all the way and just try to tune into your breathing. We like to take a couple settling breaths just to help us arrive typically in practice. So see if you can find the biggest inhale through your nose. And linger at the top with the fullness in your body, and then open the mouth, let it go. Let's try that again. Inhale as much as you can. Hold and open up, let it go. Take another inhale, even slower this time. And maybe just a little extra in there. Holding across the top of the breath. And this time through your nose, gently start to release. And then just following your breath in and out of your nose. Letting the pace balance out to something that feels natural for you. Just going for a moment a little more inward to feel yourself breathing. If it helps to bring a hand towards your belly, see if you can feel the belly expand as you inhale. And let this be a time to really land here. So feel the parts of you that are touching down, whether it's in your seat, right through the sit bones, around the edges of your feet or your legs, however they might be connecting to Mama Earth. And as you give yourself this time, this really beautiful gift of time to just be with yourself, in this moment, nothing needs to change. There's nothing that you need to do except be and take care of this one right here. To just be yourself, to be with yourself, to be okay with yourself. And let there be some extra acceptance that comes with that. When we let go of resistance, it's the same as letting go of a tightly closed fist. As it opens up, there's this release of all the tension, of all of that grasping action that happens when we get really attached to something or to someone. Some situation in our lives becomes so habitual, so neglected, and just feeling like, well, this is exactly what I need, so I must have this for the rest of my life. The one thing we know is that life is ever changing. Everything is always evolving and growing into the next phase, and growth is never easy. It always means breaking out of our shell and getting bigger than the previous home that we were living in. Letting something shine a little brighter means we have to get through that breaking, cracking open phase. This might be the hardest part, but it might get even harder still. Wherever you are in that process of cracking open your heart space and letting that bigness, that fullness of your loving vibration come through, wherever you are in that process, I believe it is something we are all here to do. In this lifetime, more and more are needed in this line of work of taking care of ourselves and each other so much that we all shine a little brighter, that we all shine even brighter. Let your hands come to your heart space and take a moment to breathe into your hands, into your heart. I'm grateful for this practice that brings us together, that grounds us and connects us to something bigger than ourselves, to this beautiful place we get to call home. Mama Earth, as she holds you, feel her grounding you. Let your hands start to fall away from your heart. And the next time that you inhale, let them sweep up to the sky alongside your ears. And take your time to blink your eyes open and gaze up at the space between your hands. Take a minute to interlace your fingers and just point the pointer finger right up towards the sky. And then lean over, pointing to your left-hand side. See if you can feel that extra stretch and reach right out through the index fingers. See if you can keep trying to pull your right hip down into the ground and lift up a little more under the armpit, around the space of the ribs, spreading out across the side of your chest. Inhale, start to come all the way back up to center, and exhale to the other side. And again, lifting up a little more around the side of your chest, just under your arm, and dropping down through the left hip a little heavier. Pointing the fingers away from you. See if you can feel your shoulders. Try to pull back from your ears so they're not coming up to give you earmuffs, but draw them back and down. Inhale, start to come all the way back up to the top, and then roll out your wrists on the way down. Let them make big circles all the way back to land. Let's take another breath and inhale, reach all the way up to the sky. And then over to your left-hand side. Drop your hand and reach up. Gazing up to the sky, see if you can bend your top arm and find your hand behind your head. And as you do, lean your head back into your hand and see if you can turn your heart up to the sky. Keep bending this elbow down towards the ground on the lower arm. Inhale and start to come all the way back up. Reach both arms up to the sky, blossoming upwards. And then exhale, melt down with the other hand, the elbow bends. And as you start to look up to the sky, bend this top arm, find your hand behind your head, and lean back, dropping the weight of your head into your hand. Try to lift your heart up. Drop your shoulders back. Cracking open and breathing more space into the place where you hold all of your loving reserves. Take an inhale, come back up to the sky. And then again, rolling the wrists out as you exhale. Beautiful. Let's start to come onto hands and knees. And if you have sensitive knees, you can always fold your mat so you give yourself a little extra thickness. Just lifting it up in the middle and finding that piece pulling back to create a little extra thickness for your knees here. Alternatively, if you do have a household blanket, if you've got anything like that, sort of those foam rubbery bits that people like to put under their knees, any old blanket will do. So finding a little extra cushion to give you that extra support might be nice. And as you start to come onto hands and knees, take a moment and just let your body rock and sway a little side to side. I was talking to Matt right before I started to record, well, maybe not right before, but saying, what if I mess up my words? What if I say something ridiculous? And I said I don't usually get through a whole class without saying something and laughing at myself or trying to poke a joke around something I'm saying wrong. And he said, well, if you do that, it'll be just like any other practice, which is exactly what this is meant to be, right? So as you start to find whatever movement suits you, take another couple breaths here, shifting around, maybe side to side or circling, whatever feels right. And then we're going to start to come back to neutral. So see if you can find yourself. I like to line up the inside edges of my hands with the middle of my shoulders. So they're just maybe a little wider than shoulder distance apart. And then I want you to think about the shoulder blades. So right in the center of your back, imagine they start to come together and just lowering the elevator of your heart, maybe a half a floor. See if you can let your shoulder blades come together without dropping your belly and rounding your back like this. See if you can just let it move down like one floor. And then pushing the earth away, come all the way up and just a little higher now. So feeling the scapula pull apart. See if you can feel a little more space in between your armpits and the ground, pushing your hands down into the mat. And then exhale and just lower the elevator. One whole floor down. And then inhale, pull yourself back up. Again, no real rounding in the spine. It's not cat pose like that. Exhale and lower. And inhale, push the earth away. Just protracting and retracting the shoulder blades. See if you can start to feel right in the heads of the arm bones, the shoulders, allowing for a little extra movement forward and back. Take one more like this. And then you're going to shift back into a child's pose, widening your knees, bring your big toes to touch, and see if you can sit your hips all the way back to your heels, maybe wiggle a little bit side to side and get into that really yummy space of the hips for a moment before you settle down. And take a moment just to sit there, settling into your child's pose, breathing into the back of your heart, trying to find that space again between the scapula, letting it expand as you inhale and soften as you exhale. See if you can stretch your arms back out a little more energetically now and start to come all the way back up onto hands and knees. Bring your knees back underneath of your hips and curl your toes under. And then this time as you inhale, push the earth away fully like cat pose, rounding in your spine, tail towards the ground, nose towards your navel. And then as you exhale, drop the belly down. Let your shoulders pull together on your back and look forward this time, tail up to the sky. And inhale, push the earth away, rounding, opposite of what we normally or might typically do in our cat-cow. And exhale, drop the belly. Finding those little pauses, inhale, right at the top of your breath, lingering in the shape a moment more. And exhale. Trying to feel everything move in your spine. Inhale, turn in. And exhale. Start to come back into child's pose one more time, widening the knees, big toes to touch. This time, don't let your elbows come down, but keep yourself right up on your fingertips and see if you can feel yourself shifting back a little more in the hips. And you can stay looking at the ground, keeping your ears in between your biceps. Take a walk over to the left side of your mat and see if you can take a little extra stretch back with your right hip. Now start to bend the left arm, bring it back so it's right alongside you, almost right next to your knee. And as it pushes down into the ground, see if you can push the side of your body out on the other opposite edge of your mat. Now you could stay like this, looking down at the ground and dropping into your right hip a lot. Or you can let your right ear come and sit right on top, right on the side of your shoulder. And as you try to drop your head down, keep trying to lift up with your arm and get that extra sweet stretch in the side of your chest, cracking open a little more space. And then take a moment, start to let both arms stretch back out again and walk back through center on your fingertips. And start to come all the way over to the other side. And as you reach off to the right, bring your right hand back right alongside you. Push your palm into the mat and try to stretch the left side of your body out more, right in between the ribs, spread out, cracking open the side of your heart. Again, if your ear's resting on your shoulder, getting that extra weight to resist, just to give you that extra release when you remove it, when you let the resistance go and everything just flows again. Start to walk back out to center again, take your time. And as both hands reach out, plant your palms and draw yourself all the way back up. And this time come all the way into downward facing dog. If you're not feeling like coming all the way up or putting as much weight in your wrist today, you can always keep your knees on the ground and walk your hands a little further forward for puppy dog. Try not to arc in your back too much and just drop your chest down, but think about that long line going from the crown of your head all the way back toward your tailbone. Trying to keep that lift in your belly. Try to find some extra length in the sides of your neck as you pull your shoulders back and let your head reach a little further. If you're in your down dog, take a couple moments to pedal through your feet, reaching one heel back at a time and letting the back of the leg stretch out a little more. You might even let your hips shift a little side to side. Your head can nod and shake. And then take your time and start to come right back down onto hands and knees. And then we're going to sit back onto our knees and see if you can just sit up tall for a moment. Let your wrists come up and make fists and start to draw circles with your fists. And then go the opposite way. And then bring your hands together. And as you make a fist with your hands, see if you can start to draw figure eights, swirling around. And now see if you can try to reverse that and go the opposite way. letting the wrists stretch out a little bit more and giving them some extra love. Our hands need just as much love as they are extensions of our hearts. And as we start to pay more attention to them, as we start to give them a little extra love, everything flows from our hearts more easily into our lives, into everything that we touch. And so as we try to keep that channel open, we get hopefully a little stronger and a little more open through the heart space all together at the same time. See if you can find a moment and sit forward so that you can find yourself back on hands and knees. Find that proper position for your hands that feels right for you. And then from here, again, toning the belly. See if you can feel a little lift around the sides of your neck as well. Try to keep your gaze looking down at the ground, even if I turn to look at you. See if you can keep finding your neck long every time you find yourself back in the movement. So as you lift a little through the belly, feeling that inhale start to lift a little more in your back, take your left leg and just start to lift your knee back straight behind you while your knee stays bent. The sole of your foot reaches up towards the sky. Let this be the inhale. And then as you exhale, pull your knee into your chest and draw yourself in. Inhale, kick it back. And just pull it in as you exhale as much as you can. It doesn't matter if they don't come anywhere near to touch. Bring your nose towards your knee. And then inhale, take it up. This time as you exhale, take it out. Start to turn your hip and lift. And we're going to start to stretch the legs straight out to the side. And then as you exhale, pull your legs straight back without bending the knee and just turn the toes down. And then inhale, take it out to the side. And exhale, turn the toes down and send your legs straight back. One more time, inhale. And exhale, take it back, turn the toes down. This time, bring your leg out to the side, inhale. And then let it come right down to the ground. Let it land and don't let the toes actually come down to the ground. Keep your toes lifted away from the ground. And then as you inhale, you're just gonna turn the toes up towards the sky, rotating at the hip. And exhale, rotate them down. Inhale, turn the toes up. And exhale, turn them down. A few more times. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Now land the whole foot on the ground like you wanted to. Let the sole of the foot land completely with your toes pointing towards the front of your mat. And then start to walk yourself all the way back up. Take an inhale and reach your arms up to the sky. And as you exhale, start to lean over towards your leg without dropping down. See if you can try to lift up a little higher and then gazing up towards your hands. Let the shoulders drop down and see if you can feel your heart lift from behind. Start to inhale, come all the way back up to center and bring both arms up. And as if you're holding something right in between your palms, let them face each other. And as you exhale in the next breath, start to send your hips back and let your hands reach forward. And then inhale, lift them back up. And exhale, hips back, keep the belly toned. Parallel to the ground. Inhale, come back up. And exhale. Inhale. And one last time. This time, let your hands come down to land. And as you start to shift your weight back so you're in line with this foot out to the side, start to float it away from the ground again. And then take it all the way back behind you. From here, bend your knee. And exhale, land it on the ground. Take a moment, shift yourself back into child's pose or into a downward facing dog. And give yourself whatever you need in between sides as we start to get ready to play the other way. See if we can make this a little easier. Ha! Learning as we go. I said I was nervous before. I guess, it's that first time jitters, first time filming anything and putting something like this out into the world. And I said to Matt too, everything has to start somewhere. Everybody starts with their first time somewhere. So here it is. You're with me for mine. Let's see if we can find another, again, lift through the belly and get a little longer through the sides of your neck. Now take your right knee, let it float away from the ground, and then lift it back behind you, the sole of your foot going straight up. Inhale here. And then exhale. Try to hug your knee towards your nose, rounding in. Inhale, kick it back, straight back. And then exhale. So try not to let it go out to the side. Sometimes as this leg goes out, it wants to sort of circle out and back. See if you can take it straight up and exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Last time. This time, start to turn the knee out and then send the leg straight out to the side. And exhale, pull it back. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Last time, toes turn forward. And then let the sole of the foot come down. But we're not going to let the outer edge of the foot come down. Keep it lifted. And then from here, right at the hip, inhale, turn the toes up. And exhale, turn them down. The inner edge of the foot lands, and then turn them up. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now, finding your hands back on the ground, see if you can start to press the outer edge of that foot down and just walk your hands back towards your knees. Once you get lifting up here, bring your arms up to the sky. And then as you exhale, start to lean over towards your leg and see if you can feel that lift right up through the open side of your body. Pressing down, rooting into the ground through your knee. Let that lift come all the way up through this side of your body. Eyes up, hearts up to the sky. Take another breath here. And then slowly come all the way up. Holding that magical thing right in between your palms. As you exhale, send your hips back. Keep the belly toned and let it reach forward like you're passing it on. Inhale, reach up. Put a little more light and love in between your hands. And then exhale, pass it on. Inhale, filling yourself up. See if you can imagine letting all of that beautiful light shine into your heart. And then as you exhale, you have so much, you can give it away. Inhale, filling yourself, opening up your heart more. And exhale. This time, bring your palms right back down to the earth in front of you. And then start to turn your toes and float your leg up. And then as you kick the wall, pull your leg straight back behind you. Drop your knee slowly back above the mat and then let it land. And again, your body might want to shift all the way into a downward dog. You might find yourself wanting to move more into a child's pose. Wherever you are, let yourself go. Let your breath come in through your nose and out through your mouth. And again, inhale. And exhale. We're going to come all the way back down towards the seat again. And as you start to find yourself in your seat, give yourself a moment to sit really tall and lengthen from the ground up to the top of your head. And wherever you are, holding onto your knees, or if you're sitting in thunderbolt pose or on top of your shins, see if you can find something to connect to on your legs, either around the sides or the fronts. And then you're going to start to circle around from your seat up through the ribs. Let your body make really big, beautiful circles, hovering your heart around that central channel that runs through you. So this energy that comes in and moves through us to get to the ground and then rises up from Mama Earth and goes back up to the cosmos, always centers and meets right in the heart space. See if you can start to circle the opposite way. And in that heart-centered place, we want to have as much capacity as possible to let that life force energy move through us. So see if you can find it here expanding your heart as wide as you can reach right now from that central channel. You're literally stretching this space available. And as you slow this movement down, whatever direction you're going, slowly see if you can imagine spiraling inward along that track until you would land at center, and close your eyes. And when you've stopped exerting effort, see if you can still feel that movement, that circular motion, that vibration that moves through you. Your own life force energy, your own heart space expanding as we move and breathe together. Again, let a hand come over your heart and another hand come towards your belly. And see if you can find the inhale filling up your belly first, and then up into your chest. And hold at the top for a moment. And then exhale from your chest and out of your belly. Inhale through your belly and into your chest. And linger at the top. And then exhale the chest and then the belly. A few more times. Inhale and hold. Then exhale. And just noticing yourself breathing. Just being this connected by placing your beloved hands on your body. As you move through your own breath, in your own way. There's nothing too scripted about this moment right now. It doesn't even have to be belly, chest, chest, belly. Just feeling those places and spaces fill up. Now let your hands fall back down into your lap and blink your eyes back open again. We're going to play with just a little more work to open up a little more space in the heart. And if you have something that you want for Savasana, try to keep it close to you by now. So if you want a blanket or if you want extra socks and sweaters, layers that you want to put on, now might be a good time to start thinking about that. I know we still have a little bit of a ways to go, but as we start to cool down, as the temperature starts to drop, your body sometimes just needs that extra bit of comfort. And so listening to your own body's needs is all that I'm encouraging you to do. And as you start to find yourself sitting in a comfortable way, we're going to play with some breath practices here for a little bit. So find your hands along the outside edges of your ribs. And you're trying to wrap your thumbs around behind you and see if you can find a connection to the back of your ribs as well as the front through your fingers. And then as if this is an accordion and you're trying to feel it expand out to the sides and come back in, out and then come back in. That's what we're trying to look for here. And as we work with some of these breath techniques through the practices, you'll find that there are some that are a little easier to grasp and others that are a little more challenging for your body and for where you are in your own skin in this moment. But as we start to think about expanding this place, we're going to use Nisarga Bhastrika today, which is a rapid in and out, just like the accordion, filling and closing, filling and closing. And so you want to give yourself as much clarity in your nose as possible. And so if the snots start to come out, that's okay. Let yourself exhale whatever you can through your nose and then breathing in and out a few more times. So we're going to start with 40 and I'll count for the first few. And after that, I invite you to start to count a little more in your head. And I'll eventually come to the last ones and hopefully jump back in and guide you as long as I can keep track of the numbers too. But let's do our best to find 40 of these breaths. Take a cleansing breath first. Inhale. And let it go. And seven, 8, 9, 10, 40. Inhale. And let go. And as your eyes close, and we all wonder just exactly how many she made us do, see if you can just feel that vibration in and around your heart space. As if you could almost still feel your hands at the side of your ribs, even though they've dropped down, allowing yourself just to linger in this vibration that is yours. This is the power and the energy that we all have, the ability to create, to give to each other, to nourish ourselves and give back to this heart right here, to take care of this beautiful place that we call home, Mama Earth. And as we expand the space of the heart, as we start to get a little more comfortable going back here, going back home, it's my hope, excuse me, all of that inhaling, I got a little bit of the dusts in my nose, I think. But it's my hope that we can take this journey together, that we literally can walk each other back home to our hearts and give ourselves just a little more peace of mind that we're all trying to figure out how to do that together. And that's the whole point, right? It's that we come together to do this. We can't do it on our own as much as we are perhaps finding ourselves in places alone, practicing in spaces like this on your own mat, wherever you may be, might be just the kind of work that you need to do to know how to give your light out to the world just a little bit more brightly and a little bit more shiny as well. So let's see if we can find just a little more love down on our backs today. So as you start to come down onto your back, keep your knees bent and allow the feet to spread out wider to the edges of your mat. And then letting your knees start to sway side to side. If you feel like rocking your head the opposite direction of your knees, if that movement feels good up in your neck, in your upper back, give yourself that opportunity, or just leave your head still. The next time that your knees fall to your left-hand side, see if you can let them get a little heavier there. And instead of trying to push your knees down towards the ground, try to lengthen them away from your hip creases. And see if you can engage with the right glutes from behind. Just stretch out even more in the hip flexor. Try to lengthen your tailbone towards the front edge of your mat. And then if it suits you, take the left ankle and place it on top the outer edge of the right leg, trying to drag that knee forward and away from you. Squeeze the right glutes even more. Trying to find that balance between the resistance of your heaviness on that left leg and that extra stretch that it offers you. Now start to bring your leg all the way back up to center like this. So the pair of your legs comes back into what I like to call prep for thread the needle. So if you're not there yet, place your ankle on top of your right thigh. The left palm finds the inner left edge of your leg and tries to push it away. Not around the kneecap, come lower than that, right in the juicy part of your thigh, and flex your left foot completely, pushing the sole of your foot away from you. Now you can stay just like this, trying to keep your hips pulling down equally into the ground. Or you can let the legs leave the ground and the lower back press into the mat, finding either the back of your right leg to pull in or onto the top of your shin, or using the energy between the legs as they push and pull towards one another to hold each other here. Now, wherever you are, if it feels right to just stay still, or if you'd like to move around a little, see if shifting your weight helps to open up anything else in and around this left hip joint. And then take another moment or two, if you are moving, to find your way back into stillness. And then start to stretch this shape in the legs up a little more. So open up at the back of the right knee. And then take your time and bend it again. And let it come back down to the ground. If you're already on the ground, wonderful. We're going to wiggle the right foot back out to the edge of the mat and let this shape of the leg start to come back down where we started. If your ankle lands on top the outer edge of your leg, maybe another breath or two there, and then start to think of bringing it back down to the ground. Wiggling out to the edge of the mat on this side, and then inhale, slowly bring your legs back up and let them start to sway again, left and right. If your head likes to move a little right and left, you can find that movement here too. And then the next time that your knees fall to the other side of the mat, let them get a little heavier there. Try to find the edges of your feet pressing down. And then bring the outer edge of your other leg or the ankle on top of the outside edge of your left leg. And see if you can try to squeeze the left glutes a little more, lengthen the tailbone, try to lengthen the knees away from the hip creases. Soften somewhere around your head, neck, and shoulders. And then let this shape start to come up slowly, rising back to prepping for thread the needle, wiggling your left foot so it's more in line with your hip. And then as you keep this right foot flexed, try to push the inner right thigh away with your hand. And again, you can stay just like this with the hips pulling down into the mat and the belly still staying connected and toned. Or you can let this shape leave the ground and come towards you, flattening out through your lower back, letting the tailbone curl up a bit. If movement feels good here, by all means. If stillness is better, if it feels like anything is unhappy in the back of your hips when you're moving, just stay still and see if you can focus on the ankles wanting to meet each other, one pushing, the other pulling, trying to find them somewhere in the middle. And again, soften all the way up into your head, your neck, through your jaw, and into your shoulders. Take another breath here. Wherever you are, if you're moving, start to slow the movement down into stillness. And then if the legs are lifted, we can play with that extra movement in the back of the left knee, just opening it up, stretching out as long as you can. And exhaling to bend. And then land this foot back down on the ground. If you were already here, great. Just wiggling the toes out a little wider again to the edge of the mat. And then letting the shape start to collapse down. You can take another breath or two here before you actually lower your foot off of your leg and back to the ground. And then again, swaying side to side. Give yourself a moment to hug your knees in toward your chest and give yourself a squeeze. Your ankles might move around a little bit here. Letting yourself even move a little side to side if that's what feels right. And then letting your legs stretch up towards the sky and have a little bit of a shake up here. This is my shake the water out of your fur doggy pose, trying to imagine that you actually did run through a sprinkler or get caught in the rain and you're my puppy dog trying to shake the water out of your fur. Bring your arms up into the sky and let them shake out as well. Let's take a couple cleansing breaths while we do this. Inhale. And don't be afraid to make a big funny sighing sound. Inhale. Take another inhale. And as you exhale, hug yourself back in. Let the weight of your legs drop in towards your body. And let your arms be held around them, hand to hand. Feeling that circle in between your chest and your hands, running through your arms, embracing everything that is you. What you deserve right now is to feel loved, no matter what. Love is the thing that is going to pull you through, that is going to remind you that you are not alone, and that we are all connected in this circle of love. It is the thing that is going to help heal this world that we're living in, remembering that we are all just links in one big beautiful chain, connected to each other eternally through the arms of love. If there's any other shapes that your body is craving for your practice, I invite you to find them now, to move your body however you need to. If you're feeling ready now to just settle into your Savasana, it would be a beautiful opportunity to, again, add in any extra loving layers that you might need. To find your blankets, to find your sweaters. And together, let's see if we can settle into that loving hold of Mama Earth. Take another sweet inhale. And let it go. Breakdown by Erin Hansen. You're staring at the ceiling, trapped between these walls, but you can't erase the feeling that you've been here before. All the lies that they have told you come crashing like a wave, and as it drags you under, you know you can't be saved. If there's beauty in the breakdown, you're the most beautiful of all. But the higher people lift you up, the harder you can fall. The fear of what could happen steals the light out of your eyes. In a world of broken people, it's not hard to realize that though this world's still turning, all your bridges are burning, and there's nobody there by your side, and though the lights shine bright, they can't warm up the night, and they can't wipe the tears from your eyes. Wherever you may find yourself, try to notice that you're breathing. And try to notice what you're feeling. Maybe you are feeling broken. Maybe you're feeling all of the feelings all at once and it feels like it's altogether too much. Whatever you're feeling, know that it's okay. That it's all part of this thing called life. That we all have some part to play in the greater scheme of things. There is something that you're here to do. There's some gift that you are longing to share. And it comes from your heart. One of these beautiful women that I follow that has led me and held me in so many different energetic ways. She shared something today that I think she was sharing part and parcel from Brene Brown, and it was that grief is the price of love. And we pay the highest price for the thing with the most value. And grief is hard. Grief is something that on some scale, on some level, we all experience. And usually it is for the thing that we love the most. The thing that we want to love us the most. And sometimes that's just this life in general. We want it to love us so much, to nurture us so much. And we have to give so much of ourselves to feel that full love of life and nurturing. And I think the giving right now in this moment is the giving in to yourself, to just being with yourself and letting that be okay. So as you feel yourself in this moment, if you're still on your back, take a really big reach over your head as you inhale. And as you exhale, a big release. Start to curl onto one side. And if you're still on the ground there, just placing a palm on the ground in front of you and feeling that connection to Mama Earth. If you happen to be seated, place a hand or two on the ground in front of you. And say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to be alive now. And as you give that love and that grateful vibration into the ground, feel her reflect it back to you, connecting to this bigger, beautiful resource of love that is supporting us always. we have to take care of her too. As she helps you up, slowly coming back to your seat if you're not there already. And then finding your hands meeting at your heart center. And we like to close our practice typically with the sound of a single Om. We're going to do that 3 times today. And even though I can't hear you, I can hear you in my heart. And we'll take a cleansing breath before we start. Inhale. Into Om. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live a life of ease. May you feel as loved as you are. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Thank you. I hope I see you soon.